when I was in high school, my dad told me that my grandmother and her brother had been researching their ancestry. Well, of course, our ancestry. And two of the discoveries they made was one of my I have at least one ancestor who fought in the Revolutionary War. Kind of interesting. Makes me wonder about, the other wars that came since then. But even more interesting, and very interesting to me when I was back in high school, is that I'm the 13th generation from Peregrine White. Now, Peregrine actually means pilgrim. His parents were on the Mayflower. They traveled on the Mayflower. And they were in Cape Cod Harbor when she went into labor and had Peregrine. And he was the second boy. He has an older brother named Resolve. And so Peregrine is considered the first white man to be born in New England. And so since then, I've kind of had an interest in, the history of the Pilgrims, and a lot of what they teach on the TV and schools and stuff. It's not true. They came here as missionaries, and that's it's in their own writing that they came here to witness to the Native Americans and to spread the gospel. It's written very plainly in their writings. But beyond that, they also, had concern about their own children, because the society was affecting their own children and stuff. But their main purpose was they wanted the freedom to witness to other people. And so they came here to share the gospel with the Native Americans. And there's a lot of history there. Well, some other interesting things I've learned is that, that winter, it's common knowledge, was really hard on the Pilgrims. A lot of them died, got sick and died. Well, William White was one of them who died. And the day he died, he was one of 4 individuals who died. And that was the worst fatality rate of that winter, was the day he died. That 4 people. And I am sawing cedar trees for goats right now. But think about, I've often thought about when I'm always screwing up. Peregrine White's mother was either named Sarah or his wife was named Sarah. I'm always getting that screwed up. I can never seem to remember it. But when she got on the Mayflower to travel with her husband William, she knew she was pregnant. And there was one other woman on the Mayflower who gave birth in the middle of the ocean. They both knew they were pregnant. And we know from records that it was really choppy waters. It was very stormy. The Pilgrims weren't allowed to come up onto the deck because it was so dangerous. Imagine being pregnant and dealing with those kind of conditions. And yet it was common. Women were just kind of rugged back then, I guess. I remember seeing a documentary on the Oregon Trail. And they shared that in these diaries, the women would never mention being pregnant, nothing. And then all of a sudden, baby boy was born last night. Baby girl was born this morning. And that'd be it. There'd be nothing more stated. And imagine going in those covered wagons pregnant. That had to have been tough. And yet they did that. And so I had that knowledge before I ever moved out here. And this is really rugged land. I mean, anywhere you go that's uninhabited, where you are starting from scratch, is rugged land. But where I live, it's rugged. I mean, you're not building your house with mountain cedar trees, which is actually ash juniper. Same thing. You're not. I mean, these trees are not the kind of trees you build your house. I have learned that in the 1800s, they made coal out of. They would burn the trees to make coal, and then take the coal to, I don't know, Austin or somewhere. I don't know where they took it to sell it for the city people. But these are not trees for building. And this isn't farmland. I mean, this is rocky land. It's not farmland. It's ranch land. But even if you are somewhere else, where it is farmland or whatever, you know, I look at this land wherever I am, and it's some really rugged land. And I think about, oh, prairie. You know, moving out here has been pretty challenging. It's pretty rugged. I'm isolated. But it's nothing like what my ancestors dealt with. Think about it. I've got electricity. I'm hooked up to the power lines. I don't know if you remember learning about the electric co-ops in school, in history class. I'm a beneficiary of an electric co-op, which is that people bought into it. The government helped support it, started it, but it's member owned. It's this Pedernales Electric Co-op, which is who gives me my electricity. It's not a for-profit. It's a non-profit. I'm a member. I own the company, and I get credit at the end of the year for, you know, if they've made too much money or whatever. I don't get it totally. I haven't really looked into it, but you know, because of you know, there was a time when during the Great Depression, when it first started, most people in rural America, if not all, had no electricity because the companies would not. I mean, it's expensive to put up power poles and bring electricity out. And if you've got to go miles between house, you're not making any money. And so they wouldn't do it. And so this electric co-op bill was passed, and they were formed. And I'm not positive, but I think Pedernales might have been one of the earliest ones, but that could be wrong. But because of that, rural people started getting access to electricity. So, you know, in 1930, most rural people were still, you know, candles and lanterns and, you know, living the way they did in the 1800s. But you know, thanks to electric co-ops and the legislation that passed that to make it possible, I have electricity. I have a septic system. So I have a flush toilet. I have a well. That technology, I mean, my well is 420 feet deep. That's a very, very deep well. But I'm on top of an aquifer, the Edwards Aquifer, which is huge. It's a very large aquifer. In fact, San Antonio, it takes me 2 hours to get to the outskirts of San Antonio, and they get their water from the aquifer, the Edwards Aquifer. So, I mean, I have electricity. I have running water. I'm not hauling water from some source. I don't have to go, well, I'm not even by a river, but, you know, if I don't have to go to the river and fill buckets up and carry it to the house like our ancestors would have done. I live a good 15 miles from the nearest town, from a church, from anything. Think what kind of, you know, it doesn't take me that long. Yeah, I drive to and there. I don't go to town every day. I think about it. But think about our ancestors doing that in a covered wagon or on a horse. You know, I don't know if you've ever read Little House on the Prairie or those kinds of books. Little House on the Prairie was just basic, you know, her reminiscing of her childhood. It's a good, you know, source of history. But it was, you know, when her father would go to town to get supplies, sugar, flour, it took him days. It was a major trip. If I wanted, you know, I'm getting low on alfalfa. I need to get some more alfalfa. I'll just hop in my pickup truck and go to town, pick it up, and bring it, you know. 18-wheeler delivers it. I need chicken feed, no problem. Just go to town and pick it up. Our ancestors know. If the, you know, it was an all-day trip to go to town to get the food. If they even had a town close enough to where they could go get the supplies. They grew most of their stuff not because of choice, because they had to. And if they moved on to fresh virgin land, think about it. I mean, I'm in a mobile home. Yeah, they had to go, the previous owners had to go to a showroom and make a decision, you know, it had to be built. But think of what back in the, you know, 1800s, 1600s, 1300s, you built that house yourself. I mean, sometimes I just think about what our ancestors, you know, I know it's been hard. The first years, these years have been hard. And it's never going to really get easy because I'm dealing with animals and it's a lot of work. But if I go out and I milk a goat and it's cold and I'm miserable or it's hot and I'm sweaty, if I go out and saw cedar trees in the summer and I'm hot, or in the winter and I'm cold, if it's raining and it's muddy and I'm miserable, I mean, this morning it was 28 degrees. It really, I mean, thankfully there was no ice or anything. I have had to deal with that. And it's miserable. But I go inside a warm house. I can go take a shower. Think about it, in the 1800s, you didn't just go take a shower. There's a reason why people only bathed, you know, once or twice a year. In the summer, they could go in the river and bathe and stuff. But, you know, bathing was a major activity. If you got to heat the water up on the wood stove. Prairie, are you eating the cedar? I hope not. That's not good for you. You're not a goat. Yeah, sometimes I think about how hard it was. And I appreciate all the conveniences I have. I mean, if I go outside and I'm working and I just get muddy and I'm hot and sweaty, or I've done something, whatever it is that's really filthy and I'm just filthy, I'm thankful I can go and take a quick shower and put on clean clothes that were washed in a washing machine. I'm not having to heat water and using a scrub board, or I can't even think of what those called, you know, with rocks or whatever. I mean, the washing machine washed them. Yeah, I choose to put my clothes on the line. They dry nicely. They last longer. But I do have a dryer for those times when it's just really nasty weather and I just need clean clothes or whatever. But I hope sometimes you think about your ancestors. You know, I think about Peregrine White. Now, he was a baby. There was a lot of infrastructure already in place by the time he got old enough to start understanding what his parents went through, what all those people on the Mayflower, and then the next ships that came after that, what they went through to, because they didn't have running water, they didn't have electricity, they didn't even have houses, and they got there in December. It was cold. This was New England. It was cold. Think about what they went through and how much we have it so much easier. no matter what you're doing, we got it so much easier. Whether you live in the city, you live in the country, we have it so much easier. And we're lazy compared to what those people do. You know, what they had to, what they went through and what they accomplished every day. And we're lazy. We have it so much easier. And I'm thankful for a lot of that easiness. You know, the running water, electricity, just those basics. I'm thankful for that. So I hope you spend some time thinking about your ancestors, if you know anything about them, what they went through, and how much better we have it. You know, be thankful for what you do have, and don't take anything for granted. You know, it doesn't take much to lose your power for a few days, and what do? We complain. We shouldn't complain. Yeah, we want it back on, but we have power to lose anyway. It's something to be thankful for. So I hope this got you thinking a little bit, and I hope you spend time thinking about your ancestors, whether you know anything about them or not, if you have any clues or not. We all come from somebody, and all of our ancestors helped establish this country somehow, in some way. So I hope this got you thinking, and thanks for listening to my rambling, and I hope you have a wonderful day and that it's not too chilly wherever you are. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.